Hey everybody, and welcome back. We're reviewing Mortal Kombat the movie this time. Sorry it's a little late, but some things happened. So, anyways, what did I think of the movie? It was great. It was actually one of the first video game movies to truly, and I mean truly, do what it promised, and that was deliver a hell of a film. To be fair, getting it also on Blu-ray along with 2 and the original Legacy collection, as you can see here, was pretty good. So, definitely worth it. Sorry. So, what did I think of this? I mean, look, I still have my original DVD copy. And what can you say? They did a good job on this film. Truly good. And I have to admit, there's a lot that went into this. But has it aged well? The answer is actually in some places yes, in others no. I regret saying that, but it is the truth here. Ugh. So much stuff to do. Anyways, but still, the film has earned such praise and yet also such scrutiny. But is it really so bad? Well, I'd love to put the footage in here, but I can't. So let's just talk about it. This is a review. The way the film opens up, first of all, is the first thing that gives you a hint. You have a big, loud opening, courtesy of the Immortals' famous techno serenade song. Mortal Kombat! You know, shit like that. Then, of course, it goes right into the words, you know, ding, 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 right on the screen, and then, whoop, Mortal Kombat. Fire comes up along with the logo, and we're right in the action. That's pretty cool. But did the film really succeed? Well, the opening sequence still has an opinion on me, and I saw it back in 1995 when I was a teenager. Whew, how did it go? Pretty good, actually. It has not only a kung fu vibe, but it also has, as it goes through, a real horror vibe. I mean that too. We're introduced to Shang Tsung. I cannot pronounce the actor's name to save my life, even though he's going to be in MK11 playing Shang Tsung as our first DLC character. That should also be noted. And in fact, he returned in Season 2 of Legacy as Shang Tsung. So the actor has some pedigree. He's also a well-versed actor. And it was just great. And I love the fact that he's also a martial artist. So, you know, he beats Liu Kang's brother down, kills him, basically takes him up by the hair and goes, "Your brother's soul is mine." You know, and then you'll be next. Then, in a true horror fashion, turns into a corpse as he flashes at you at the screen. It's just like, and you're like, holy shit. The morph was quick and easy, and this was not a super expensive film, too, either. I think it had a budget of, I checked it was about $18 million, basically. So, back in 1995, this was not super cheap, but it was not also super expensive, either. This Street Fighter movie had a bigger budget, in all fairness, folks, and, well, we all know how that turned out. That movie sucked. Still does, too. Oh, those poor gamers. Anyways, moving on. But, yeah. Then, Lou wakes up. He's like, shit, that's my brother. And then he goes to his telegram and it says, yo, grandfather, brother dead, get your ass home. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but you get the basic point. And then we get sent to Sonya. Now, Sonya is hell-bent on capturing Kano. She's got Jax with her. Now, do remember that this movie takes place when MK1 and 2 were released and 3 was already on the way. So, they only had 2 real games to work a plot from. But that was enough for this first film. And as it goes through, it just gets better. Sonya eventually works her way through this techno club, and we're introduced to Kano. Now, I do want to point out that the actor who played Kano did die, but his performance was so good that it has influenced that character of Kano since that time, both in the games and in other media. So he really did stuff good. And I believe the last film he was seen in was Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, the first Pirates movie. So it wasn't like he wasn't getting work. So anyways, Kano basically is like, I could have some fun with her. And Shang Tsung, who's got the hots for Sonya's like, you want to see an eye dog? Yeah, I'm not going to go. But it was just cool. And then we get sent to Johnny Cage next. And this is a cool thing. You're giving each character a little moment to introduce them, to set up what their life is like, and then thrusting them into the action. And in Cage's case, he's basically being called not a real martial artist or any of that kind of stuff. And he's suffering through this. And then, boom, he completes this whole sequence, and this one guy is like, should I fall down? And he's like, yeah, you should fall down. And the guy then is like, where do you get these guys? And the press says, I don't know how to do this stuff. It just works so well. And that's what sets it up. After that, he doesn't want to be involved anymore. He's pissed. And then, of course, we get to his master, Master Boyd. And Boyd basically tells Johnny, you've got a chance to finally shut all these people up by taking part in this ancient tournament. And this is one of the first things I want to talk about is the prop department. You know, it's clear they didn't have a super large amount of money, but what they did have, they made some great stuff. There was an actual invitation in old, I believe, Chinese, and it looked old. It looked so old, from the box to the actual scroll. And then it's revealed it's Shang Tsung who was impersonating his master the whole time. Then we get to Liu Kang coming to China to see his family at the Temple of Light. And his grandfather was freaking hilarious in the movie. And, you know, Liu still doesn't believe any of this stuff, you know, even though he knows it by heart. And then Raiden gets introduced as Liu's basically saying, no, I'm going to the tournament. And you people say no. And Raiden's like, why didn't you defend your brother? You know, and it really shows a lot of stuff off. After this, we then get to the boat ride to the island. And this is when they start to interact with each other. Liu's a man on a mission. He throws Johnny Cage's luggage into the water. But he's like, yeah, I pay money. You take the luggage on it. Is that too difficult? No, I got it. Crew pockets the money, walks away. Doesn't ask him to park the car. It's just hilarious. We get introduced to a movie character exclusively called Arlene. Sonya is, of course, dragged on by Kano. Sorry, I can't believe I said that word. And, you know, we get to meet all three of these characters. Sorry about that. And it just keeps getting better from there. And then eventually we bring up Shang Tsung and Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Now, the movie does have one point that sort of pisses people off. They're like, well, Scorpion and Sub-Zero should not be working together. But Shang Tsung did say, they're slaves under my power, which does make some sense. And from this, we really get the idea there's a lot more going on. Eventually, Raiden interferes, and we find out all this stuff he was talking about is real, which is pretty cool. And then it just keeps getting better from there. And I think this is what made the film so much fun, is that it wasn't playing around at that point. You have little fun moments, you have little comedy here and there, you have this and that, and then it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. I actually rather enjoyed it. What happened next, really? There's some stuff I don't want to spoil. But eventually they make it to the island. There's some more funny sequences. And then it starts to get real. We have individual fights between characters. We see just how serious the tournament is. This one guy Liu fights is defeated, but instead of just being allowed to, be, safe, Shang Tsung kills the guy by taking his soul right out. And it's pretty damn cool even still to this day. We're introduced to Reptile. Goro is an extremely intelligent and impressive character. Now, I do want to stress this in my review here. I've also read the novel of the movie, and except for a couple of things here and there, the novel and the movie are pretty damn close. There are some differences, and in some cases the book was much, much more violent. For example, how Arlene dies in the movie when he fights Goro, it was just a single hit from Goro, and boom, ribcage and everything are busted, probably shards breaking his heart and stuff, going in, he's dead. But in the book, Goro is like, he's got an honor streak in him. And I don't think they really showed it off in the movie, but but he's like, you fought well, and then just right on his chest. I mean, if one blow in the movie could do that, imagine what all those could do. And it was that serious. And that's the other thing. The Goro in this movie was a real practical effect on set between actors, CG, mostly animatronic people, including the guys who later worked on all the Alien movies. So, some people are like, well, that's a strike against them. It's like, no, it's not. And other things like even Tremor. So they are still working to this day. They still have great work. And the movie just worked so well. I do want to say that the first movie had good pacing. It was a tournament. We had time for the characters to work off of each other between each match, and also getting to know each other and becoming friends. And also setting up just how serious, them surviving actually was, including even some of the secondary characters. And I really like that. And the movie just builds on it. One of the other things it does is it builds up, what's going to happen. It follows the plots pretty seriously to a point, and yet it also did its own thing. That's pretty good. It did its own thing, and yet it was still able to find a niche and keep it. There's not many movies, I think, that can do that. And considering it was made in 1985, when games were considered a joke for a movie, this is pretty good. And it's also one of the reasons why people still want another movie made. Not a direct sequel. Annihilation kind of killed that, but definitely another movie. I think that's also why we had 2 seasons of Legacy and other stuff. And it was just worth it. And remember, this was also around the time MK3 came out. And I do think the movie has these good points that it does, and these great storyline and arcs and stuff. And it's one of the reasons why I had to review it for this time period. I do want to apologize again for not getting it out early. I did make a promise. I understand, we do what we can here on YouTube, but still, the movie is still very good, and I highly recommend you get to watch it. Now, what I'm secretly hoping for is that the first movie, at least, will receive a 4K treatment, and if it does, I'll happily buy it, watch it, and then tell you what I think, just as a little update. But until then, I'm going to give the movie a solid 8 out of 10. Yes, there are problems. Some of the effects have definitely dated beyond repair, but the movie was still worth every penny. And my 3 watchings as a kid, even my mother liked it. And we also were reading the book as a family. And this is a woman who was she was a little iffy on MK, and yet she liked the book. She actually got in. Like I said, MK has had a story, a very good story right from the get-go, and it was Saturday, I woke up and I'm coming out like, okay, what do I have to do for work around the house now before I can just relax and do something, maybe go ride my bike? And she's like, oh, you won't believe how Sub-Zero killed this guy in the book. And I stopped dead in my tracks and looked at her like, I thought you didn't like it. And she's like, oh, I just wanted to read ahead. She liked it. And this is a woman who could beat me in Mortal Kombat, so, she was the original gamer of the family. But it tells you a lot. So, God bless you, Mom. And all that other stuff. And I'll probably decide what next videos are going to be made for the next 2 weeks before the MK11 comes out. And remember, there will be the unboxing of MK11. And I'll try to get to a review as quickly as I can, or even just showing off footage. I think especially of the Switch version. Just because, So with that being said, I'm out, guys. Have a good day.